So I went and saw that new Indiana Jones movie. And I gotta say, I could have come up with a better name, Instead of Dial of Destiny, just throwing these out here, you know. Um, Indiana Jones and the Pay Your VFX Artists More, or Indiana Jones and Don't Let Disney Get Involved in Anything You Do Ever, or Indiana Jones and I'm Too Old for This Shit. Seriously. We'll get into it, guys. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, back to Norwich Just Bored, episode number 80. That's right, we're at the big 80. We're here. Another 10. Another 10 down. We're 20 away from 100. What are we going to do at 100? I don't know. I think I have some ideas. I have some ideas that I want to do, but we're still a ways away from that yet, guys. So there's lots of time to do some planning, but I still want to, contact some guests and contact some other people that I want to have on. I'd like to have more guests because I think the episodes with guests are a lot funner, and it's kind of fun to just, shoot the shit with other people. But the problem is this podcast has really been a solo show a lot lately because a lot of people are busy, life goes on. That's the thing. You can't always rely on people to be there. You can't always rely on, especially when you're a smaller podcast, you can't always rely on people getting back to you. That's why I like to try to reach out to smaller creators. And also I got a lot of stuff going on in my own life. So, setting up time, and then you never know where people are from, if they're, because YouTube's just YouTube, everybody's on YouTube. That's it. But you don't know. They could be in the UK. They could be, in Saskatchewan. They could be in fucking America. There's unlimited options. So it's really hard to set things up sometimes with people, even if it's just a couple time zones away, it happens. But I want to look into more stuff like that, and also, get some of my old pals back on because I really enjoy talking to them. But it's been really busy, and like last week, I remember I talked about like calming, just being calm and taking time to enjoy the little things, and that's what I did last weekend. Right after I uploaded the podcast, we took off, and I went with my new gal and her family, and we went camping on the weekend. And I gotta say, guys, it was a lot of fun. It was great to get away. No cell service. Well, there was a little cell service. If we needed to make an emergency call, we could have. But Snapchats don't load, Instagram, forget about it. So I was just like, it was chill, and it's so easy to just. It's so strange, and I talk about it sometimes, but it's weird how much we rely on technology when it's there, but then when you don't have it, when you're in the wild, when you're just enjoying nature, enjoying, cutting wood and making food and making fires, and you don't even think about, at least I don't really even think about it, I mean, I like talking to you guys, don't get me wrong. I like the YouTube channel. I like producing content, doing stuff like that, and but it's just like when it's not around, you kind of forget it exists. And then, you get back to service where there's cell service, and then your phone's just going bling, ding, 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 ding. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson retweeted retweeted this and that, and you get like 700 notifications, and it's kind of crazy that, every day you're consuming. How many notifications are you clicking on per day? How many like links and just notifications, friends sending you memes, friends sending you messages, work emails. It's insane how much we interface with technology and we rely on it. And then, but when you're just hanging out at the lake with family and friends, that's all you're thinking about. You're literally just thinking about relaxing and then your next meal and just having a good time. And, you know, we managed to look at the stars the one night. Unfortunately, I drank a lot of whiskey that night. Holy fuck. I drank so much. I'm not sponsored by them, but I drank a lot of Buffalo Trace whiskey. If you guys want to get in contact with me, my information's right here. Email me at the Gmail and we'll set something up. But I can only take like something like $20,000 is the minimum. I'm like, I don't want to sell myself short. This top rated podcast in Canada. Come on, guys. Show some respect. But seriously, no, I drank way too much whiskey. And the thing is, like, part of it is mixing drinks in the dark. You're you got the campfire, but it's not quite bright enough. So I'm just kind of like eyeballing it. But also, I always make strong drinks just because it just works faster. It kicks in faster. I'm a bit of a heavier guy. I'm not a big drinker though. Like I honestly don't drink that much. Not as much as my 20s. My 20s were kind of crazy, but I really don't drink that much these days. So when I cut loose, I kind of like to cut loose. But if I'm drinking at a bar with friends, you have food or whatever, and then you have some drinks, and it seems like it takes forever to get, a buzz going. But then when you're just, mixing your own whiskey, fuck, you put 3 fingers in, there you go, you're feeling that. But the problem is obviously you just think it's not working, and then it works, and then it works too much, and you're like, why is the world spinning? So I was trying to enjoy the stars, but I was like, the stars were also spinning, but it was still very gorgeous. It's really, really nice to just look up and see the stars and kind of the whiteness of the galaxy. It's really, really beautiful, especially when you're spending time with somebody that you really care about and have a good time with. So that's definitely an added benefit. But I just remember that night I got such a bad stomach ache, and she went to bed and she's like, "Are you coming?" I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna puke. And I really didn't know. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna puke or what's going on, because the thing about me, you guys gotta understand, I'm not a puker. I hate vomiting. I hate puking. When I'm sick, it's the worst, because I know if I just go in there, do what needs to be done, vomit, I'll be fine. You feel so much better every time. But I have this internal struggle. I don't know if it's like trying to be competitive and I just don't want to lose, whatever that means for puking. But I will do everything in my power to not vomit. And it always ends up biting me in the ass because because I genuinely just, like, you feel like shit and then you puke and you're like, oh, okay, that's better. But usually I give in eventually when I'm sick, but when I'm drinking, no. I hate puking. It just really, it's probably a good thing because, obviously it hurts your teeth, the acidity of your stomach. It hurts your breath for the person that has to kiss you, unfortunately. It hurts just everything. It just, when you're older, I was actually talking to her about, my girlfriend, about how when you're younger and you puke, even when you're sick or whatever, like your body doesn't, I don't remember my body hurting, if that makes sense. But now that I'm in my, like, since my mid 20s, like 26, 27, 25 even maybe, and still to this day, obviously, when you puke, like your whole diaphragm, your whole chest area, it's kind of sore the next day. And I remember back in the day being like, why the hell am I so goddamn sore? And then I'm like, oh, it's because all my muscles were clenching up when I was puking, and you're like, so when you heave, your body tenses up, and so all those muscles are tensing up. But I guess when you're younger, it doesn't really affect you because you're basically made out of fucking rubber. Like you ate the goddamn gum fruit, the devil fruit. Is it called the gum? I think so. What Stretchy Boy Luffy, his fruit. But yeah, you're basically made out of fucking rubber. Oh my god, I just randomly thought of the One Piece theme. Do you guys remember the One Piece 4 kids? This is taking you back like 20 years, but when they did the English dub on like 4 Kids. 4 Kids. I don't know if it was only Canada. It might have been the American viewers. You guys gotta let me know on this, but in Canada for sure. Anyway, we had a thing on YTV, and there's a company called 4 Kids, and what they did was they took anime and they dubbed it, but they didn't dub it like the English dub that you would see on like a DVD or something. They would dub it like so it's kid friendly. So they would take out all the swears. They would take out basically they sanitized it. They would take out anything. Sometimes they cut episodes entirely if there was nudity, anything like that. But the it's on YouTube. I know because I looked it up the other day. And the 4 Kids intro to One Piece is just fantastic. I mean, it's not as good as the Japanese opening, obviously. That's amazing, but the 4 Kids one was just classic. It's like he's made of rubber. How did that happen? Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum. Yago, Yago, Yago. Uh-oh. His name is Luffy. That's Monkey D. Luffy. He's gonna be king of the pirates. Yeah, I'm serenading you guys today. But seriously, just look up the 4 Kids or look up, I'm sure it'd be like English opening. I don't know if they use that for the regular English dub. I would hope not, but you never know. I know for sure it was the 4 Kids one. But I don't know what it was back then, but they always did rap or like hip hoppy type intros, you know? It always had to be like something with like a random rap song, and it's just so it's weird. It's strange, but it's also pretty good. I just love the English intro with like Gold Roger going like, "My treasure is yours for the taking, but you'll have to find it first. I left everything I own in one piece." And then the narrator comes in. I'm pretty sure it was Christopher Sabat. Maybe. No, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't know who it was. Famous voice actor though. He did a lot of voiceover for like the English dubs back then, but yeah, go check that out. Anyways, back to me getting drunk and fucked up. Yeah, your body hurts. So I think that's also part of why I don't want to puke. But either way, my point is I ended up going to bed. I ended up being fine. I just like, belched a couple times, took a shit, regular things. I packed everything. I'm a packer. Like I'm a emergency guy. I have like knives and axes and condoms and dental dams. Okay, I don't have dental dams, but I have like all kinds of emergency shit. First aid kit made out of metal, professional grade shit. Tums, Benadryl, Afterbite. But you know what I didn't bring? I didn't bring fucking Pepto Bismol, which I should literally have. You know how cops have firearms? They have a little holster, put their pistol in. Yeah, I should have one of those, but have a fucking bottle of Pepto Bismol on my side because just at any given time, whether it be food related or anything whiskey related in this case, I always get like stomach aches. It's, diarrhea, I love hot sauce. It doesn't love me. Put it that way. But I should literally have a bottle strapped to my belt at all times because the amount of times that I need it and I don't have it, it's alarming. But I should have had some that would have made me feel 100% better. That's the one like medicine, like cough medicine, I almost think is a placebo because it almost never works. Sometimes it does, I guess, but I don't know. But it never seems to quite do the trick. But Pepto Bismol, I know if I have a stomach ache and I take the little, container of that, however many milliliters it is, or sometimes I just swig out of the bottle like a real pirate, and it's like I just have some, and I always know I feel good. I'm like, it just works. It really does. So I love Pepto, but it's also expensive. So you gotta try to get it on sale. For like the big Titan sized bottle, it's like $15. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. But you know what? Sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes you gotta be bougie with your pink bottle. But I'll tell you guys one other thing though. Besides the stomach ache, there's something I've learned. All right. The days of me tenting, As a 33-year-old male, that ship has sailed. That ship is in the Grand Line right now, to continue with the One Piece references. It is at the bottom of the ocean with Mary. It's no. Tenting, would not recommend it for people of my age. Like, I'm 33. In tenting years, I'm fucking dead. All right? I'm 103 years old. I'm King Charles. Like, it's out of control. We even had mats under us. So we had a sleeping bag, and then we had these mats. They weren't much mat. Like, you know, I might have gotten away with a foam. I think I'm going to, if I do it again, I'll do a foam pad or something. I think that would help us a lot. But we had these little pads. So we weren't right on the ground, but we had a pad thing made by Coleman, but it wasn't much. And every goddamn morning, like, I think I'm still sore from sleeping on the ground. I'm like, holy Christ. And I just remember as a kid, like, we would literally, our parents would have their tent, something like that, whatever. They'd be in the trailer. And us kids, we'd just be in like a pop-up tent, a little tent. There'd be no foam pads. There'd be no air mattresses. There's no Sealy Posturepedics, you know? It was just, we were straight on the ground in our Jurassic Park sleeping bags and like a pillow, and I was fine. It just, like, something happens when you're older, and I guess, we're heavier, we're more dense, not made out of rubber anymore. It's probably a big part of it. But you just, yeah, everything starts to break down. I'm like, I'm getting too old for this shit. It's it was a little rough, so I think I'm gonna have to invest in something. Her brother ended up bringing some. He had some raised beds. They're like those little, like what hikers use to stay off the ground when they're sleeping. It's like a pop up bed, but then they just they put foam on. They put those up, and then they put foam on top of those, and then they're sleeping bags. I'm like, that's the ticket right there. That's the way to go. But all in all, it was a great trip. It was, honestly, it was fine. Like, whatever. You only sleep for like 2 hours when you're camping anyway, because then the Slender Man gets you, and you got to collect his pages, and away you go. So, and then also the whiskey helped me sleep too, because when you're drunk as fuck and you're tired as hell because you've been running around chopping wood and throwing axes all day, it's pretty easy to fall asleep no matter where you are. Could have just fell asleep on the floor, like in the dirt. That would have been worse. But on the topic of getting too old for this, like I said in the intro, I saw the new Indiana Jones movie, Dial of Destiny. Yeah, so spoiler alert, obviously I'm gonna be talking about it. We're gonna get into it here a little bit. And I gotta say, even though I have literally been exhausted this whole week, I think I've slept like I'm recording this on Thursday, and I'm gonna be uploading it today on Thursday, because I've had no time. I've been so busy with disc golf and just other activities. And caused some sleepless nights, we'll put it that way. But I've been exhausted all week, so it's been a rough go of it this week, we'll put it that way. But I honestly was trying to pay as much attention, because we went to the late show, because I was the only one that she could go to, because she was getting home late and she had to drive into town. So we went to the later show, which was like 9:30. So, and it's like a 2.5 hour movie, or yeah, I think it's 2.5. So we're out of there like midnight. So it was insane. But when you're already exhausted and running on like 4 hours of sleep, that's, normally I could stay up awake for any movie, whatever. But, running 4 hours of sleep makes it a little rough at my age. But I made her through. And I got to say, I mean, it was Indiana Jones. So I was super excited. For a little pre-context here, like, I loved the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Like, I actually thought that was a good movie. I know a lot of people didn't like it. They had a lot of issues with it, which is fine, but I actually genuinely liked it. It's not as good as the originals. I think The Last Crusade is my favorite. I like Raiders a lot, though. Temple of Doom's probably the weakest one of the original trilogy, but it's really hard to say because they're all so good, to be honest. But the original three were definitely the best, and Last Crusade is probably my favorite. But Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was good. I liked it. It had some good sequences. Obviously, everybody talks about the fridge scene. It's been memed to death. I get it. I try to forget that scene exists every time I see it because it's so fucking stupid. But whatever. It's still a good movie. It's still fine. I don't. I yeah. That whole scene. That like, fuck. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you haven't seen the movie Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I don't know why you haven't. It's like 15 years old now, probably. I actually don't know when it came out. It probably came out in. Did it come out before or after high school? Let me just look it up here. Kingdom of the. It was 08. Holy fuck, I guessed that right. 15 years ago. Literally was 15 years. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure that's the year I graduated that it came out. Because I remember graduating and then being like, oh my god, there's a new Indiana Jones movie. It's been 18 years. 2008. Yeah. Wild. Fuck, time flies, doesn't it? But anyways, yeah, I like that movie. And yes, it had aliens in it, like it was involved with aliens, but it's like what? Like fucking Ark of the Covenant and supernatural ghost shit is like that's fine, but like aliens is too far fetched. Like, and it was and it's based around the thing about the Crystal Skull thing was that it was based around like all the Indiana Jones movies. It's based around a real thing, like the Crystal Skulls found in like, oh Christ, where were they found again? I think they were found in Peru. Like that's where the movie is anyway. But like in Nazca. But oh Jesus. Like the Mitchell Hedges skull. That's what it's like. The lore is based around that. So it's like it's all based off a real thing. And then people really do think that aliens built them because the craftsmanship is like perfect. And there's no way people would have been able to do it at the time with the tools that we know that they had. But, could be. But then again, people built pyramids, so could be aliens, or maybe there was a great reset. The Younger Dryas Impact Theory. Look it up. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. But people really didn't like it. They didn't like aliens. Whatever. Get over it. It's a good movie. Go check it out. 15 years ago. Let's go. But this new one. Again, I was tired. But I gotta say, it was a pretty fucking boring movie. I really hate to say that. I really do. It wasn't all boring. There's some good sequences, like at the beginning. Of course, like every Indiana Jones movie, it has to start with Nazis or commies. In this case, Nazis. And there's a good action sequence, but it starts in the past. So they pulled like a Governor Tarkin thing from Rogue One, where it's Indiana Jones, but they de-aged him. So, and it's weird because it looks good. It does look good, but it's almost like that uncanny value thing. There's something off. Something's wrong with it. And the way the light reflects off his eyes and stuff like that, you can tell it's CGI. But it's really good. It is really good for that technology, but it's still, there's something off. You can definitely tell it's CGI and there's some weird movements, but that doesn't surprise me with the VFX budgets and how, basically VFX artists in Hollywood are sweatshop workers at this point. So, unionize, guys, fight the power. It's, yeah, it's crazy to think that just, yeah, they're so underpaid. It really sucks, but that's probably why there's a writer's strike right now and all that stuff. So everybody wants to get paid more, which is definitely a good thing. I mean, pay actors fucking millions of dollars, but And I'm not saying actors' work is easy, because it's not easy. It is actually a craft, and there is bad actors. So, and I'm not talking about just politics, eh, Trudeau? Eh. But no, there's actually skill involved in acting, and if people say there isn't, I mean, they've never acted, so obviously they get it. But they still get paid millions of dollars, and but the people that do the magic behind the scenes should get paid a lot too. So whatever. No more about that. Back to Indiana Jones. Yeah, the intro sequence was fine. It's just a classic. I'm not gonna get too much into it. Just a classic. Some action sequences with, punching Nazis, and we get introduced to the main villain, who's played by Mads Mikkelsen. I can't actually remember his character's name right now. We'll just call him Grindelwald. But hold on, let me look it up here. Dial of, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh, Jurgen Volter. That's who he played. But that's hilarious. Antonio Banderas is in this movie, by the way, but I'm just looking at the IMDb thing right now, and it just says Antonio Banderas. Like, does that mean he's playing himself? That's fucking weird. But either way, so yeah, and it basically introduces us to him, and then it introduces us to, like, they're actually going for the spear, what I would call, like, the artifact from Wolfenstein, which is the Spear of Destiny, but they're going for, can't remember what it's called, but it's like the spear that drew the blood of Christ or something. But then it ends up being a fake, and then they're like, "Oh, it's a fake artifact." But then they find a real artifact, which is the Dial of Destiny, which I can't remember what they call it, the Archrithium or something. What is the? Hold on, let me look it up. Yeah, I can't type. It's called well, it's called Archimedes Dial, but oh, that's what it's called, Antikythera. Antikythera. Uh, it says astrophysicist Jürgen Voller informs his superiors the lance is fake, but he has found half of Archimedes' dial, an Antikythera mechanism built by the ancient Syracusan mathematician Archimedes, which reveals time fissures, allowing for possible time travel. So that's kind of, yeah, that right there. That's kind of the whole, the art, because every Indiana Jones movie has to have some sort of an artifact or something thereafter, like the Ark of the Covenant, and in this case, it's the Archimedes dial, which is supposedly, if you join two, you join the two sides together, and then you can. The idea that the Nazis want is they want to go back in time and then win the war. So that's what his whole, that's what the kind of plot is. So, and they do that whole intro, they get the half, then they go another adventure, they get the other half of the dial, and just, I think what I think what kind of disappointed me the most about this movie was that there was no like real, there wasn't enough like puzzle solving. Like there wasn't enough. When Indiana Jones is at its best is when he's solving some sort of a puzzle. He's, tomb raiding, essentially, doing shit like that. That's when it's at its best. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen in this movie, because it does, technically, but it's just not a very good scene. It's not very engaging. And again, I mean, I was very tired when I watched the movie, so maybe it was my state of mind too, but I just didn't find the action sequences to be engaging. I didn't find that, the whole cave dwelling with traps and tricks and traps and puzzles, that's the bread and butter. That's what's really, those are the fun scenes. And it didn't feel like this movie had any of that. At least nothing that was memorable or fun, we'll say. But I don't know. The plot itself, like the artifact, that's all fine. It all works. But just, yeah, I found there was no real, it was missing the spirit. And they were trying to, you know, they were kind of playing off the whole Indiana Jones' old thing and how he's retiring from his career, and he wants to, he's kind of getting out of the limelight. And then, in true Disney fashion, they introduce a female character who's kind of gonna be, they don't outright say it, but it's kind of like his replacement, which is Helena Shaw, which is played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't think I've seen her in anything before this, but she's kind of like, a lot of the action sequences are actually kind of based around her, which again is fine. But the problem is, it's an Indiana Jones movie. It's not a Helena Shaw movie. We're there for Indy, and that's kind of the main focal point. But I feel like they were trying to, and I kind of knew, because he's talked about how this is his last movie for the character, and my thoughts were they were going to kill him off. That's what my whole thought was on this film, was they're going to kill him off, and then they're going to do like a passing of the fedora, as to say, or passing the torch on to a new generation. And they kind of, they were kind of doing that, but kind of weren't. And at the end, again, this is a big spoiler, but if you're still around, I mean, we're already in the spoiler territory anyway. So near the end, the Nazis do join the dial. They fuse it together, and they find the location of a time fissure. So the whole point is they want to go back and win the war, right? So they're going back in time, and Indiana Jones is like, no, that's not going back to. He's like, the calculations are off. That won't take you to 1939 or whenever they were going to go. It's going to take you back we don't know. It's going to take you a lot farther back, but there's no way of knowing. And then it takes them way back to, like, I think it's Archimedes' time anyway. And it's maybe the Trojan War. I don't know. My history is a little blurry of that age, but it's because I think Archimedes is Greek. Sorry guys, I'm showing my bad history here right now. And I'm usually pretty good with history, but I'm also tired. Leave me alone. But yeah, anyways, they go back to Archimedes' time, and they're in this, German gunship, and they all think it's a dragon, and it's kind of I will say it's one of the cooler sequences, because they're kind of back in time, and there's a war going on. It might have been the assault of Athens, was it? Maybe, I don't know. Either way, they come in, the Nazis get, killed, they get shot down, the plane's done, and Indiana Jones ends up shot, and he's dying, and then they meet up with Archimedes, which is a really cool scene, because he's like an archaeologist, and he's meeting a famous historical person, so it's pretty cool. But then he wants to just basically, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. He's going to die in the past. And that's going to be how he ends. It's going to be the end of Indiana Jones, but they don't actually do that. He tells Helena that he wants to stay in the past and just to let him die and whatnot. And then she knocks him out, and he wakes up back in his own time in his bed. And then his ex-wife from the old movies, which was Marion Ravenwood, that lady, she has like her small cameo at the very end, and they're kind of getting back together, and it's like just kind of the ending of it. That's how it goes, that they're back together, and it's like, okay. So I guess for some other, there's some questions that some people probably have, and that's like, if you watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you know that he had a son, which was Shia LaBeouf, which was him and Marion Ravenwood's son, Mutt. So he was a big character in Kingdom. He's not in this movie. And everybody's like, well, what happened to Mutt? That's his fucking son. He's just gone randomly. That's weird. But they actually explain it away in a scene because it's been quite a bit of time since the last adventure, and they explain that Mutt went. It's literally a throwaway scene where they're like, yeah, he. It was like I can't remember how they said it, but it's like, oh, somebody would let their son go to war, and then he's like, yeah, yeah. And then basically implying that Mutt enlisted in the war and he died. He died in the war, so that would have been like I don't know, whatever, 80s or Vietnam, something like that. I don't know what war exactly. They just basically explain that Mutt enlisted and was killed in battle, I guess. That's all we can assume. So they kind of just explained him away, like he died. Yeah, sorry. Shia LaBeouf wouldn't return for a movie, so we had to kill him off. But yeah, so they explained that off, and then that's why he's not with Marion in this movie, because she was just distraught that he let his son enlist and get killed, and it's just basically like they just explained everything away like that. But then at the end, they're randomly together because he came back. He came back in time, and just she forgave him. I guess the ending is really like it's supposed to be like a feel good thing, but it's also like a this doesn't make sense. But I think they wanted those characters to end on a happy note because they are kind of beloved characters from not only Kingdom but the classic movies. So, which is fine. It's fine. It's just it's one of those things where when there's so much time between sequels and actors aren't around to do the roles, or actors aren't in Shia LaBeouf's case, he's not really he's not in it because he kind of got ostracized from Hollywood for I'm not gonna get into that. It's a bunch of fucking shit, and people don't really like him anymore. But he's kind of on a path of redemption now, so you never know. We'll see what happens. But the one, I guess the one thing I will say also that's kind of an important note. It's a spoiler, but it's also an important. It's an important piece of the dial that they find out is that it doesn't actually the dial of destiny, like Archimedes' dial, doesn't actually travel through time in particular based on what you set it at or what time fissure you go through. It's actually a dial that always goes back to Archimedes' home in his time. So basically you learn that he made the dial as a way to get home. So the Nazis could never use it to win the war or time travel per se, because it would never ever go to another time besides Archimedes' time. But of course, again, it's a kind of a cool plot point. I get it, but I will say I'm not a huge fan of time travel because it just fucks everything up a lot. It's hard to keep a believable story with time travel. Not because it's just not because it's fantasy, like time travel's a fantasy concept at this point anyway, but because the Nazis crashed a fucking airship in Athens. I believe it was Athens. If I'm wrong, fucking tell me. But they crashed an airship, and there's guns. There's, Hausers or whatever the fuck they're using, the German guns, and fully automatic machine guns. And so the people of that time will just have machine guns, and that wouldn't change the future. Like that doesn't make sense. So it's one of those things. But there's the other thing where maybe like when you go back in time, you're going back to your original time, and the time with the guns is like a different split of time. It's like it's a multiverse thing, but I don't know. It's just still weird to me because I'm like, are we just not going to talk about how the Trojans will have like pistols and stuff that they found? I'm not saying they would have technology to replicate the guns, but it would definitely change things because they'd be like, oh, this is kind of cool. We got to do some research to make this shit. And guns would probably be invented a couple hundred years earlier, at least. just based off metallurgy and all that stuff. So I don't know. Either way, it was honestly an okay movie. It had some good scenes. It had some nostalgic throwbacks. They like to do those in these movies, and with the callbacks and the kind of classic scenes that they do. But all in all, it really was the weakest movie in the series. I it was not very memorable, like, to me. It was just it was kind of eh. And the ratings are showing that too. Like, if you look at the ratings, I don't know, 82% of Google users liked it. It's got a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 69% of Rotten Tomatoes. Again, it's fine. It's a I'm just going to look at, oh my god. Last Crusade only has 84% of Rotten Tomatoes. Same amount of people liked it. Weird. Either way, it's fine. I don't have anything wrong with this new one. Like, as far as a movie, it's fine. You'll enjoy it. You'll have a good time. But as far as an Indiana Jones movie, it really is the bottom of the barrel. I'd say the best part was probably the casting of the villain. Like, Mads Mikkelsen is a fucking beast, and he plays a great Nazi and very convincing. And it was, yeah, I'd say that was a good part of it. But other than that, like, they needed to have more like archaeology scenes. They need to have more. They didn't have. I'm trying to think. I don't think they had a single like supernatural thing happen in this movie, like ghosts or monsters or you know ritual type shit. Besides the actual time travel, like with the dial. But I don't know. You're always kind of looking forward to like what kind of supernatural stuff is gonna pop up. Like when the guy like Last Crusade, when the guy like ages rapidly after choosing the wrong grail, it just turns into bones and fucking blows away. Oh, like that part's classic. Or in Raiders, when the Nazis open the Ark and they melt, the guy's face melts. That is just nightmare fuel when you're a kid, but so deadly. But yeah, that's all I really had for this week, guys. If if you want to check out that movie, let me know in the comments. Let me know. Leave me anything, any kind of comment. Message me on social media. Comment on my Instagram. I don't care. Do anything. Let me know if I'm an idiot. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if maybe it's your favorite Indiana Jones movie. You're wrong, but you're entitled to your opinion, Volaire. All right? Either way, thank you guys so much for listening this week. I hope you're having a good week, and I hope your next week is great when I see you again. Remember, links to all social media are in the description below, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.